The way you've been doing it, the track record is going to take almost forever. Because how long should it take to do a 3-month job? Or 3 months or less? In other words, you were not doing it. You were toying with it, playing with it, using it to better what you really want, the world. If you were using it to go to the infinite being that you are, you already would have been free. Does that make sense? So what's missing is your want to. Your want to is the world. And if it's the world, it's the opposite of your unlimited beingness. And each Sunday, I've been trying to give you something really substantial to work with. Can you remember what the first one was? Anyone here remember?
Yeah, the first one was let go of the world and focus on freedom.
Right. That's step number one. And it's step number one of the method, isn't it? You've got to want freedom more than you want the world. Let me change that around a bit. That's the way it was originally. It seemed to be meaningless to people, so we changed it to you must want freedom more than you want approval or control. Well, approval and control equates to the world. But I think it's better put, you must want freedom more than you want the world. And if you do, then what's your behavior from there on? Turning your head away from the world and focusing it back on you. Doing that which is required to detach you from the world and allow your infinite beingness just to be. So step number one is you've got to want freedom more than you want the world. What was the second Sunday on? Do you remember?
Bring it to fear of death. Go for it.
Wasn't that the last time?
You did it more than once.
Okay, the number one hold down is the wanting to survive as a body, which comes out as the fear of dying. Out of that evolves every other feeling. If I get everyone's approval, I'm safe, I'll survive as a body. If I can't get their approval, I want to make them approve of me so I'll be safe and survive, and that's control. But because you're so fearful of allowing the feelings of the fear of dying to come up, you need to work with approval and control first. And when you release that appreciably, naturally up comes the bottom fear of dying for you to release. But I think you've done enough on approval and control to directly attack the fear of dying and work on that and work on that. And when you get stuck, use the how to and the method. Let go of wanting to change the feeling of stuckness. If it's a vague feeling, let go of wanting to change that vague feeling, and it releases, and then you can attack the fear of dying feeling. That first little release will allow you to move up to the place where you'll discriminate and realize the fear of dying is only a feeling. And that right now you're equating it to actual death. And that's why you don't allow it up. If you didn't equate the feeling of the fear, if you didn't equate the fear of dying to death itself, you'd let it right up. You'd go free in a matter of a week or two. And it is pushing hard to get up and get out. So it's the most suppressed feeling we have. And you're doing a beautiful job of suppressing it and holding it down. So last time we This is something that's been done for the very first time. Focus in on the fear of dying feeling. I generally avoid it because most people jam on it rather than carry it through. But I think you're ready, if you're committed, as you say you are, to allow the feelings of the fear of dying up and allow them to go out. Did you hear that word, allow? That's just the way it happens. Instead of holding it down, you allow it up and out because it's trying to push up and out all the time. Every suppressed feeling is. So when you do it, it's easy. Comes up in waves and goes out until the waves stop, and then you're finished. I want to give you another very practical thing that'll help you go free. And it is this. Whatever you do, whatever you want now, get it by releasing only. Whatever you want, get it by releasing only. I'm underlining only. Now, it might kill you because it's so easy, it drops into your lap.
Kill you.
Is there anyone who has not experienced getting something with no effort through releasing? So every one of you has experienced getting something just through releasing. No effort, no doing, just releasing. And it drops into your experience. What's wrong with that? Peter, what's wrong with it? You've done it. You've done it more than once. And all things are possible when you do it that way.
Don't want an elephant to fall into that.
Okay, so the point I'm making now is from here on, everything you want, make it a point to get it via releasing. Do you think you ought to write that down? I'm afraid you'll forget it the moment I stop talking to you. That means your life is going to be beautiful from here on. Oh, God is right.
We can put away all of our workload and
Knowledge comes alone, eh? From here on, get everything you want by releasing. And what will that do? It'll get you into the habit of releasing. It'll get you to use it more and more and more until it's natural, like breathing. Now, your greatest prize is not going to be the getting of the things that you want, but in your state of beingness. You'll move into that high state. Because when you let go by releasing, it's letting go and letting God. Can God do it? You need money? Does God have money? He could give you $1 trillion tomorrow if you would let him. It's just a letting. And basically, it's a letting go of the ego sense. I, me, my body, mind. Letting go of the ego sense is letting God do it. It's letting the God part of you, your beingness, do it. That's simple, isn't it? What I've said so far? Okay, what you need is one of these electrical prods that the Chinese authorities used yesterday on the mobs in Beijing, try to break them up.
cattle prods.
Cattle prods. They're electric shocks. It's an idea.
It just reminded me that they used that idea on the Star Trek movie where the controllers, which were brains in a glass jar, controlled this population, and they had hooked up to every person a gadget, and the person, if they thought a wrong thought, it would get them.
Find out where they bought them.
Well, okay. I think that would be very useful. I really do.
Yeah.
Home Depot. Maybe that's what we need to set up here is a Home Depot with a capital H. H for heaven, highest. But this is an assignment. From here on, produce everything you want by releasing until it gets to be permanent. When it's permanent, you're awfully close to being free.
When I'm a little confused, that means we take no action physically.
No. In your mind, you take no action. When you release and you let it happen, your body goes through the motions. But you have a sense of being not the doer. It's not me, but the Father who worketh through me is the sense. It's letting go of I, me, ego sense and letting God run the body.
That's what I did when I did dancing class.
Do it all the time. Things get to be effortless. You'll be surprised. And it's almost like this. Now to lift your arm takes effort. If you release, your arm floats up with no effort. And that applies to everything. There's no effort. When you let go of the ego sense, there's no effort. And it drops into your experience. When you do it enough, you'll learn to create instantly. That means materializing and dematerializing things. Through this process, you'll learn to materialize. Even gold. Of course, when you got the formula for making gold, you don't want to carry it around with you. It's heavy. The only thing you think of is what you want, what you need. You produce things for use, not to store up. Storing up shows uncertainty, the feeling I can't have, so I better build it up for the future.
So our society is based on save money, save money.
And how many pockets does Babaji have in his?
Joint cloth.
Oh, yeah, that's us.
They never carry things with them. If they want something, they materialize it. So again, starting today, we get everything we want through releasing. And I suggest you put up a sign in your room. Get everything only through releasing. And I think you need to really put it up over your mirror where you're looking at least once in the morning or wherever it's obvious. Put it up in a very obvious place. Because it's obvious that even though you've released more than once and achieved something dropping into your experience, you don't want to remember it. You prefer to do things the hard way. You love to grovel. And this will take you out of your hovel of grovel and help you solve all problems.
When the thing about we love to grovel, I had an awareness a couple weeks ago where I was asking myself, why don't I let God do it? Why am I struggling? And the answer came, because if God does it, then you won't get the approval. You know. So that was a very good eye opener. That we don't want him to do it, so we get the approval. Look what I did. Look how I struggled.
Now, every time you've released completely on something, no matter how impossible it was before you released, it became immediately possible when you released. No matter what it was. No matter what it was. I'm saying that to dare you to think big. I've said so much, and what I've said to you so far, I feel like cutting it now and letting you stay with that. Do you have any questions?
Question about what the second week was. We covered the first, third, and fourth. I was here that week. It's the fifth week. Then there were several things you talked about. One of the weeks I was gone. What it was.
How much? What was there?
I went to California.
Were you there when we decided to release directly on the fear of dying?
Yeah, that was last week. So, over that.
Oh, the weekend, the question you were answering that week was how to get there faster, how to increase your want to.
And what was the answer to that question?
You know, Scott. Just do it.
The decision.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
That was it.
It's so I totally forgot.
When you make the decision to go free, it comes rapidly.
Poetry. The other question I had was about releasing on the fear of dying. Did I understand you to mean that in our workshops that we should even go as far as, instead of asking is that approval or control, is that survival or is that
Yes,
fear?
under the approval and control, the workshop leader, Hale, will then ask you to look at the fear of dying underneath it. The reason why you want approval or control is so that you'll survive. So that it's up to the workshop leader to lead you further down. Now, if they jam, then release them on their feeling of being jammed. And when that's let go of, then they can confront again the fear of dying. If they jam, it's just running away from the fear of dying, as though the feeling is tantamount to death. You can keep reminding them it's only a feeling. The fear of dying is only a feeling. And feelings don't bite, they don't shoot you, they don't hit you over the head.
You just keep you bound.
No, you do.
One thing you do.
It's only a feeling, like every other feeling. But the tendency to run away from it is very strong and very habituated. So now you've got to make the effort to get it up and get it out. And once you start letting it up and letting it out, you'll discover you don't die each time the feeling comes up. You survive so you can look at it again and again.
It came to mind that Enrica said in one workshop that was very good. This guy was releasing on his neighbor, feelings for a neighbor, and he couldn't do it. So she said, well, release on this paper or cup on the table. And then he did, and she said it's the same thing. It's just a feeling. Doesn't matter what it's on, it's the same thing.
And then he released on the neighbor. Okay, that's one of the ways of a leader taking a person through a release. If you can't release on anything, you release on the wall. Do you like the color? Don't you like the color? You know. So what you're telling me is that she's using a process that works.
So we can use the same thing on death. You know, when it comes up and it becomes overwhelmed and start releasing something in the room.
Well, no.
Well,
Now you're contradicting what I said. See, now you're going way down to the elementary way of releasing. I'm trying to hold you up
okay.
at the postgraduate level. I'm taking you out of grammar school, high school, college, and putting you into the postgraduate college work. No, release the feeling of stuckness. See how you want to change things that I tell you?
Yeah, I sure do.
Release only the feelings of the stuckness or even the vagueness of the feeling. You might not even see it because you're trying to run away from it. Release wanting to change that vague feeling, whatever it is. That goes out, then you're able to approach the fear of dying again. Now also needs to be thrown in the fear of living, which is the opposite side of the same coin.
It also helped me as to what go wanting to die.
Because it is in a lot of us wanting to die to get away from everything. So wanting to live, wanting to die, fear of dying, fear of living. Those four things can be played with. Maybe you ought to write them down, or do you think you got them? Now this should have an astounding...
No, I needed to learn what all the stuff.
He used all of those on me when I had that experience.
This ought to lead to an astounding change in every one of you. And it will if you carry it through. You're being asked to do that which will get you free rapidly. You can do it here because you don't have the world telling you just the opposite, pulling you in just the opposite direction. Here you don't have the world pulling you. So you can stay with it.
There. Okay. I was working on the fear of dying one time, and I brought up a lot of heavy physical pain. So I must have been doing something wrong, but it took a long time to work through it.
Instead of releasing it, you were expressing it on the body. You were making the body die. Pain is towards death. So instead of releasing it, you were expressing it into the body.
So, but get into that again, and I'd have to say, I think that slowed down my releasing when that happened. After that, I still haven't let go of what all of it was. So, what can I do to get through that again?
Talk to the workshop leader and let him take you through it.
Okay.
Or keep releasing the stuck feelings.
Yeah, 'cause it's just
See, instead of releasing the stuck feeling, you kept it going. You were stuck with the stuck feeling and you kept it stuck.
stuck with pain. Okay.
Can you see how simple it is? It's really simple if you'll do it. All right, now you got me propping Hale, and Hale will prop you, and we'll all be proper in the future. Which means releasing the fear of dying, getting everything we want via releasing only. Doing it without effort. Be not the doer. Again, to aid your intellect, it's just letting go and letting God. And I think you accept that God can do it. If he can't, I'll get you another God who can. But it's a let go and let God experience. And it drops into your experience, right into your lap. With no effort.
I have question about the approval program and the control program. We're wanting approval. If we can't get approval, then we're wanting control so we can get approval. That what you said? Okay. How does that work when, okay, you're sitting in your room and there's an MSAT and you want to control that?
Why are you going into these questions yourself? Why do you have to have me answer a question like that? You see why you want me to answer it?
No.
You want my approval.
Oh.
You want my attention. A question like that you can answer. See, now you're bothered because you feel maybe I'm putting you down. I won't approve of you. But all these little intellectual questions you can answer yourself. And they get you nowhere. Fast. They take the place of releasing. Instead of releasing, you're questioning things. The whys and wherefores of things never give you any answer. They just satisfy the intellect, which is a thing you want to get rid of. So, please release only. Don't ask whys. Why this, why that? It's a dumb question in the first place because asking why, now why isn't it the way I think it should be? That's all you're saying. Whenever you ask why, you're asking someone to explain it so it fits in with your knowledge, which is lower than college. That's down in elementary school. So try to get out of the habit of why questioning. Just do it. Throwing up whys is specifically avoiding doing it. So get wise, kill the wise. Get W-I-S-E and kill the W-H-Y-S. Okay. I think we can end the session now, or